Still no window yet on this Cabriolet, but we have some massive improvement. Here's the before, and here is the after. When I took this windshield out, I discovered significant rust here in the windshield channel. It required some welding and now painting, but it is now completely ready for the window to be reinstalled. This is the tool I'm using as a masker. So it's got a soft edge with a couple rolls of, or a couple layers of tape on it. So it's not a knife edge, it's a rounded edge. And I'm just applying it like that, making sure the paint goes where I want it. There's a certain boundary here where the seal covers, and I'm trying to keep all the paint repairs inside that boundary, doing the best I can. I'm now finished with 3 coats of the base coat, and it's pretty good. I think the spray pattern of the airbrush isn't that great, so there's a little bit of haziness or spottiness to it, but at this point, I'm just trying to get it the same color as the car, and I'm trying to, get it protected. So I'm gonna do the clear next, and the clear is really gonna protect this in the long term and make it almost an invisible repair. That was the first coat. It's clear, and it has gotten a lot of the gloss back. I haven't blended it up into the cal yet. I just wanted to get the first coat sort of into this channel that was repaired. So the metallic looks pretty even and pretty matched to the car right now. It's, it's not dried yet. There's a couple dark spots in it, but in general, it's pretty good. So there's a little bit of blending to do on the cal. And like I said, I'm gonna use some blending agent, and I'm gonna feather the clear a little bit past where the seal goes and just buff it later. There are some lines, where the old paint meets the new paint, but this does not need to be perfect. It just needs to be protected. Now the morning after, and everything is dry. The clear is dry. Just got a little more cleanup to do on this blended edge, which I'll explain a little more carefully, the materials I used and the methods. But right now, we don't have any tape lines here. There's a little bit of tape residue on here, which I'm gonna polish off. But the goal was to try to not have a distinct edge. There's some color variation. A lot of it has to do with some staining due to the old seal. But basically, the color is matched pretty well. We just have to try to blend in that clear. And by no means am I an expert painter. I'm just trying to, create a repair that's mostly invisible. All the repairs should be behind the seal, although I did extend that clear a little beyond. So here's what I'm up to. If I just polish this, there will likely be a little bit of a halo between the two clears. Even though I use the blending agent, it's really tough to do. Basically, if I wasn't using a airbrush, I could have cleared the whole panel up to these lines, but even that's difficult. So basically what I decided to do is just keep it confined to this area here. So I'm going to clean this with soap and water, and then I'm gonna sand back the edge so it's underneath the seal, and then I'm gonna polish so that all that clear is brought right up to the seal's edge. It won't be detectable. So all I've done until now is I've just used the polisher on the drill with some polishing compound. That takes care of any overspray, which is minimal, and also any of the tape residue. I've just basically got back to where I was. Now, I talked about the halo, and it's going to be really difficult to see, but let me see if I can take a picture and show you real close up the edge I'm looking at. This edge is super smooth. There is no step, no nothing. There's a little bit of imperfections in the way I did the body work. It wasn't perfect. It's actually pretty nice in this area, but right at the radius, there's a couple, blends where it goes from existing paint to old paint, and there are some lines, and there's, heavy wire wheeling done here. So there's some wire wheel marks and stuff. Like I said, that all gets covered up by the seal. All I'm trying to do is fill those with paint so they don't rust anymore. Okay, this might seem a little harsh, but I have 1000 grit paper, and I'm just ever so lightly, sanding the clear, mostly the new clear. And like I said, that halo line is going to get pushed back below this seal. So the lip of the seal comes in about 1/4 inch. So I'm just moving that hazy section back into the seal area so I can keep the existing clear nice and even and polished. So this will be 1000 grit, 1500, all the way up to 3000 before we start to repolish, and that line should disappear, or that hazy section should disappear. Okay, I've been all the way up to 3000 grit, so this blended area of the clear should be less obvious, or not obvious at all. So the sanding marks, I started with 1000 and then went all the way out to about here with the 3000. So I went 1000, 1500, 2000, and then 3000. Perfect, smooth blend of the clear at least. Like I said, there are some defects, not really so much right here, but right here on this radiused edge where the old paint meets the new, that could be a little bit better, but I didn't want to spend a ton more time, filling with the dolphin glaze on all those little divots. They are well sealed. It is perfectly acceptable, I think, at this point to go ahead and put the window in. This is what you want to see when you take your old window out. You want to see fresh paint and no lips or anything. So this is good to go. This is great. Here are the materials I used for this repair, starting with the epoxy primer. This is SPI two parts. Then I filled the remaining pits with dolphin glaze. This is great for small repairs. Unfortunately, the epoxy primer was black, so I did use some cheap sprayable primer just because it was gray. That gave better coverage of the touch-up paint. This is from Scratches Happened. It is Porsche M5U or 79UE. It's basically diamond blue metallic. I thought the color match was pretty good. It did come with a clear, which I didn't use. I used SPI's Universal Clear. It's a 2-part mix as well. And then this is the blending agent, U-Pol. It did a pretty good job of blending the new clear with the old, but I ended up sanding like I showed you guys. This is a very inexpensive airbrush from Harbor Freight, Central Pneumatic or whatever. Nothing special here. In fact, it really did struggle spraying the clear, but I got just enough on there for what I needed. This is the polishing wheel I used. It's just a foam pad, 2-inch or 3-inch, I guess. And I used the One and Done polishing compound by Turtle Wax. It's pretty good stuff. And then just a softer block with the different sandpapers. And I think I already showed you my masking tool when I was spraying the base coat and the clear coat, actually. This is all leftover materials from when I painted my yellow car. This is only about $30, I think, delivered. And the rest of the stuff is just general use tools. So don't have a lot of money in this repair. I wanted to have a kind of a factory style repair with as good or better materials than original. So epoxy primer is very effective at preventing moisture from getting in there. Also, the clear coat is a high quality modern clear coat. It's not gonna rust again. So next week we'll get the windshield in and hopefully that goes in well, and then we can start driving it again. It's been idle now for several months. Luckily, the Supra has been picking up the daily driver slack.